All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Get the Puck Out. I'm your host, Chris Mancuso, joined by Jack Gotzel. Jack, we have been up to our knees in NFL stuff with that happening, but today we got ourselves a beautiful hockey episode. Thank God we're talking about hockey, man. And right off the hop, I saw when I was on Twitter today, a lot of people talking about Erik Karlsson. Now he signs that mega deal, $11 million a season to stay in San Jose. Now, Erik Karlsson saying he wants the Sharks to avoid a rebuild. But here's the problem, Jack. Erik Karlsson stinks now. Like, where has this guy been? What has happened to him? What happened to Karlsson? And then like the audacity to be like, we can't rebuild. I didn't come here for that. You're the whole reason they're there. Is that not the case? Like, what has happened to Erik Karlsson?
It's like when he first came to San Jose, it was like, oh, he's having a down year. It's like the transition, all that. No, he's just not that good anymore. And you can't open your mouth and say you don't want the organization to rebuild when you're a big factor of why they need to rebuild, because you just haven't been good enough.
And that contract's an anchor. Like, how much would they even be willing to eat? How much would they have to eat? Because with the way he's played, his skating, he doesn't look like the same guy out there anymore, Jack. He just doesn't.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't sign here to go through a rebuild. Well, the way you're playing like your team needs to rebuild. You need to get your head out of your own ass, and then the team can worry about that shit. But you need to focus on yourself first. Look in the mirror, buddy. You have not been good enough.
Yeah. Less time focusing on that sweet flow, more time on transitioning proper breakouts and doing the things that made him one of the best defensemen in the NHL and grew him to popularity, not only in Canada. I mean, he was getting big attention in the States while playing in a small market like Ottawa, where they couldn't even sell out third round of the playoff tickets. But that's a whole other discussion. Now, Jack, another deal that was signed. The NHL signed a deal with ESPN this week. They're going to be on, it sounds like the ESPN Plus. Is that what's
yeah,
happening?
So they're going to have some games on ESPN, like the regular channel, some games on ABC, but it's mostly streaming based. It's mostly ESPN Plus and Hulu, and they're jacking up the price. They're making you pay for all these different services and cable to watch hockey. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're going to nickel and dime you to watch hockey as much as you can. And on top of it, they're going to give you some of the worst coverage. I don't know if you've ever been on ESPN.com, if you're listening to this, to read about hockey, but they have writers that don't know what the hell they're talking about. They have some of the shittiest broadcasters, with the exception of Barry Melrose. I think there's one other good guy
Big
on
Melrose
there.
guy. I like Melrose.
And it's not John Buccigross. That's not the other exception. John Buccigross stinks. That whole hockey department stinks. They don't know what they're talking about. It's going to be awful, and they're going to nickel and dime you every step of the way to pay for that shit coverage.
Well, Jack, see, the thing is, I'm in Canada, right? So that's why I deferred that to you. Like, we don't have ESPN here. We have TSN, who I'm pretty sure is owned by them, but it's in Canada, right? So like Bob McKenzie, Pierre LeBrun, all those guys are there, right? Yeah. Frank Saravelli, like they have some proper guys there. But yeah, I've only ever heard that ESPN sucks. I remember the old ESPN hockey intro from back in the day.
That is the only good part.
Yeah. I hope they bring that back with it if they're going to do it. Oh, are they? That's good news. Then I didn't even know if that was announced or not. So shout out to them for at least doing that. And we'll see if it'll be successful or if it's going to be a complete failure like Jack thinks. But Jack, I want to talk about complete failures. I was down by the water today, beautiful Fort Erie, Ontario, getting a little walk in today because the sun was shining. It was cold as all tits out there, but I'm walking and I look across and I see the Buffalo Sabres arena and I go, my God, Jack, this is a team that's lost 10 games in a row. Jack Eichel's out long-term. They're down 4-0 as we record this episode right now to the Capitals, about to lose 11 games in a row. Brand new GM, he's not getting fired. Ralph Kruger probably shouldn't even be fired. Like, I don't even know what do you do with this team? What do you do with this team other than do what our friend Sabres Bunny tried to do and like maybe force them to just sell it? Like maybe she needs to put that ad back up on Craigslist.
I mean, you can blow it up and go for a high draft pick, but you already did that. That didn't work. That team is just like, God hates the Buffalo Sabres. That's all I can come up with.
Man, from the toe in the crease to wide right and everything in between. I always say God hates Buffalo, but I don't. I love Buffalo. I think the people are great. The city's great. There's a ton, like, I mean, the people there are just hooligans, man. Like, I mean, I'm on the border of that, right? So they're very much how we are here. But I mean, man, I know they're just starting to allow Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York. You know, he's a great guy. That piece of garbage, but that's
I mean, I love Buffalo except for the diaper wearing men child that have like man buns. Other than that, they're great.
And Andrew Cuomo, that guy's a bird. But you look, Cuomo. I feel bad, man, because like their ticket prices and that are going to be like so low. I need this border to open. Nothing better than seeing the Bruins and Sabres for like $10 and then just being able to walk down to the hundreds because no one's there. So but you know what? I've been there when they've been in the playoffs against the Bruins. I was in enemy territory. That when they're winning, man, like I don't blame them. It's been a decade ever since Milan Lucic of the Bruins ran over Ryan Miller. He ran over the Buffalo Sabres franchise that day, and it's been death ever since. I hope things get better for them. They've been brutal lately. Speaking of brutal lately, Jack, you and I have been very quick this year to pump the tires of the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've thought Toronto's looked good this year. Austin Matthews has put on a clinic. I think William Nylander's played good. I think Mitch Marner and John Tavares have left a little bit to be desired, but that's just me. But now they're sitting. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games. They lost to the Senators with their backup goalie in net. That's like almost, Jack. I think you discussed it as like a Diet Coke David Ayers version here. That was not a great few, 10 days for the Toronto Maple Leafs here. What are they going to have to do to get the rig back on the right road, as Ray from Trailer Park Boys would say? Is your rig on the right road? How do they get the rig on the right road? I don't think
it's going to take too much. I would pump the brakes on hitting the panic button here. Austin Matthews is not at 100%. Everyone knows that right now. Yes. And he's going to get back to that before the playoffs. I wouldn't really worry about it. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to make some moves at the deadline here, and they're going to equip themselves better. This is the best Toronto Maple Leafs team we've seen in the past like 5 or so years. I would not hit that panic button. You're in an easy division. You can coast here at 60%. You're still going to make the playoffs, and you're going to get healthy when it comes playoff time, hopefully, and hopefully you don't have any more injuries, and then you're good to go, and you're going to get out of the first round this year.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. That's what you hope for. I still think the best match for them is to go out and try to do and pull it off. And it'll take maybe giving up a guy like Kerfoot. But if you could get Foligno and Savard, use Savard as a rental, I think the Toronto Maple Leafs could be primed for, at least making it out of their division and making the would-be conference final. We'll see what happens. I think it's in kind of stay tuned mode as far as that goes, because one thing, like you said about Buffalo, God hates Buffalo. Well, the Toronto Maple Leafs seem to hate playing in the playoffs. So let's just pump the brakes on anything like that until we see what kind of moves are made. Now, speaking of moves made, the Tampa Bay Lightning gave up 2 first-round picks last year at the deadline. I don't think they're going to be heavy players in this trade deadline. I think they'll add, but it does look like Nikita Kucherov will be back for the playoffs. I mean, funny how that kind of works itself out, that he's ready just in time for the playoffs when the cap doesn't matter, when his $9.5 or $10 million a year deal would blow the cap right out of the goddamn water if it was the regular season. So there's no actual way he could ever return. And we all
there's no tampering at all there, right?
No, there was no plan. It's not like he probably could have been ready a month before the playoffs or 3 weeks, but they're just really making sure he gets back to 100%. Definitely not set up. So I don't think the Tampa Bay Lightning, Jack, are going to be overly active. I mean, but maybe they will. They'll probably get right up to as much cap as possible and then go into the friggin' playoffs 13 million over. Absolute scumbags in Tampa Bay, including my old co-host of this very podcast, Kyle O'Howe. Absolute scumbags. Speaking of guys who are not scumbags, though, how about Kaprizov in Minnesota so far this season? Stützle, Byfield, Lafreniere. This kid's the real deal. And to make it another kick in the nuts from that 2015 draft from the Boston Bruins, Jack, they swapped 5th round picks for Minnesota. And guess who was taken that year? The year they didn't take Barzal and they didn't take Shabbat and they didn't take Kyle Connor. They also swapped picks and gave up The pick for Kaprizov.
Absolutely. And I mean, the impact Kaprizov has had on this team is the impact you expect to see out of a guy drafted number 1 overall to a team. That is the type of impact this kid has had this year. He is the best player on the Minnesota Wild. He will, I think, take them into a playoff. I don't think they get out of the first round. I think they squeak into the playoffs, but I think he gets them in the door. I don't think he gets them to that next level. They're going to need to add next offseason. I don't think they can get there at this trade deadline. I think that's a little bit of crazy talk, and I don't think they should try to. But I think they will get into the playoffs. I think they will take a quick exit, but it's small battles to lead up to next season or maybe the year after where they do go and they try to make a run for it.
100%. I wouldn't have had the Minnesota Wild in even this position at the beginning of the year. You know, our Tarps Off Hockey division, we have good connections with Lardy of the Blue Line Hockey Club podcast, and his nephew is Jordan Greenway. So like I said, I've spoken to him and Dumba, great guys. Like seeing them have success. Okay, Jack. So we were supposed to have a guest on tonight and it got canceled because of a sickness. We hope everything's okay. But we were going to do a little Would You Rather NHL edition. Now, we're going to use the one that she had come up with for you and I. Or for you, I'm going to give it to you. And then we'll have her come up with a new one this week because it's like one of the best questions I've ever been asked in my life. And I can't sit on it another week.
Oh, boy.
Would you rather eat Taco Bell for every meal for 2 months or have Jack Edwards and Andy Brickley replaced by Pierre Maguire calling every single game for the Boston Bruins for the next 2 years?
For the next 2 years?
2 seasons. Or 2 months straight. I'm talking Taco Bell, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what that does to your insides. I don't have to tell you guys that squeezed meat probably.
Yeah, but also, do you know what it does hearing where every single player played his youth hockey, high school hockey,
where their bed is in their house,
who his gym teacher was in 3rd grade?
It's a great question, man. I couldn't believe it came up.
Well, see, you can mix it up with the quesaritos. I mean, like you can get a chicken quesarito, you can get the beef. I mean, I know the beef is dog food grade, but it tastes good.
It does taste good, actually.
Oh, I think I'm going to choose eating the dog food Taco Bell over Pierre Maguire. And I'm sorry, Pierre. I actually think he's a great person, but like, I can't listen to who their 2nd grade gym teacher was.
No. Yeah. His analysis goes far too deep than any analysis needs to go.
And he's a smart guy. For all you that think he's an idiot, that's actually not true.
That's not true at all.
But he's
he knows too much. Like I think the problem is he knows too much and he gets all hyper. Shout out to Pierre Maguire. But I'm with you, Jack. I'm eating Taco Bell for 2 months. I can't listen to that for 2 straight seasons. Every game you watch, it's going to be commentated. Not even like he's between the glass. He's going to have the mic the entire time. I'm out. I can't do it.
I think 90% of people in the world would choose the Taco Bell because honestly, I'm like a Pierre fan and I'm still going with the Taco Bell.
Yeah. You can't do it. Speaking of can't do it, Jack, buy or sell on this right now. Let me know. The New York Islanders look like they're the hottest team in the East right now. They're like the number 1 team in the East. Buy or sell on that by the time the end of the season comes. Will they still be the beast of the East?
Oh, this might come to bite me in the ass. Don't clip this, but I'm selling. I don't think they'll keep it up. I just don't think they're that good. I think they're getting a lot of easy games lately. They're getting those lucky bounces. They face the Bruins when they're in a shitstorm. They played Buffalo 3 times. They had to go to a shootout to beat New Jersey. I'm selling. I think that this is a bit of a lucky stretch. I don't think they finish in the top 2 by the time the season's over. I think they make it to the playoffs. Maybe they get out of the round. Maybe they don't, but they're not going past the 2nd round in the playoffs. They're not winning. They're not winning the East.
I am going to also sell, but I think they'll be 2nd. I think that the Bruins being the, put my Jack Edwards Homer glasses on, I think they're going to make a couple moves here. Sounds like they're already all over at home. They understand that they have a massive hole in their top four. And once they get a little healthier mixed with a trade like that, I think you're really going to see them. They still have like 8 games left against Buffalo. I think they can do it. But the Islanders, man, there's 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and Barry Trotz bangs. And Barry Trotz bangs, man.
So true.
So you know what? I wouldn't be surprised to just see them come with this one game at a time mentality that he brings into the locker room and never lets his players get ahead. I think he's one of the premier coaches still in
absolutely.
the NHL to this day. So it was a tough sell for me because I don't think they're going to even fall out of the 2 or whatever. And I'm with you. I think they'll get to the second round of the playoffs as well, no matter where they fall. I just think Trotz is that good of a coach.
And people love Bruce Cassidy. Trotz, I'm taking Trotz over Bruce Cassidy 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, Trotz is one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the NHL. Guys, I want to let you know, speaking of NHL, that we have a ton of coverage at tarpsoftsports.com. I want to tell you right now, click subscribe, click the like button, leave a comment. Let us know if you think that if the New York Islanders can hang on and become the beast of the East this year or not. And let us know who you think are going to do it as well. Jack, we can find you on Twitter at Jack Gotzel. You can find me on Twitter at cmancuso9797. Jack's got the finger up.
I also want you to let us know whether you would eat the Taco Bell or take Pierre Maguire in the comments.
100%. Yeah, that's actually a better question. Jack, good save there. Taco Bell or Pierre Maguire for 2 years commentating your team, or Taco Bell every meal for 2 months? Let us know.